Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something that, well, might look like pure bureaucratic paperwork at first glance, but it actually represents a massive, systemic shift in how one of our largest government departments functions. We are breaking down a brand new, super urgent directive from the Department of Education. Specifically, we're looking at DepEd Memorandum OULA 2025-2555. Basically, this document is a fast-tracked effort to completely update and upgrade the procedures for handling administrative cases. So if you're someone who cares about administrative efficiency, legal frameworks, or just how giant organizations modernize their internal justice systems, you're going to find this incredibly fascinating.
Which brings us to the core question of our explainer today. How exactly is DepEd modernizing its 19-year-old administrative rules? I mean, really think about that for a second. 19 years. The foundational rulebook they've been relying on is literally old enough to vote. The legal landscape, the technology we use every day, even civil service standards, they've all evolved so dramatically since then. So how does a colossal institution go about ripping out the old procedural plumbing and installing a totally modern legal framework? Well, that is exactly the journey this memorandum kicks off, dragging an aging system firmly into the present.
Now, as always, we like to ground our explainers in the actual primary text. So here is the official stamped memorandum itself, issued by the Undersecretary for Legal and Legislative Affairs, Attorney Fileman Ray L. Javier. Definitely take note of the date there, October 20, 2025. And look at who it's addressed to: all regional directors, assistant regional directors, schools division superintendents, and assistant superintendents, right? This isn't just some quiet internal memo. This is a massive system-wide broadcast hitting every single tier of DepEd leadership, signaling that a major administrative overhaul is actively underway.
Okay, so what exactly are they changing? Let's define the core subject here. The memo is explicitly focused on amending DepEd Order, or DO, number 49, series of 2006. This order is officially known as the Revised Rules of Procedure of the Department of Education in Administrative Cases. For nearly 20 years, this has been the absolute procedural Bible for any administrative case within the department. And the current administration? They've made a firm directive to finally update this thing and harmonize the old issuances with recent legal frameworks. In fact, the Office of the Undersecretary for Legal and Legislative Affairs has officially pledged to complete this entire amendment process within this calendar year. It is a huge priority.
Let's actually map out how we got here, because the timeline tells a pretty interesting story. The original DO-49 was issued way back in 2006. Now, to be fair, over the past few years, the central office hasn't just been sitting around. They've actually been gathering feedback and recommendations from various regional and division offices. But progress on the draft kept getting deferred, mostly due to administrative transitions and new developments in the law. Well, that pause is officially over. On October 20, 2025, the brand new proposed draft amendment was officially transmitted back out to the field offices. And here's the kicker: they have a hard deadline of October 27th to finalize all their feedback.
So what are the actual, on-the-ground, operational upgrades we're talking about? The memo essentially highlights 4 notable enhancements. Let's break them down. First up, a clear delineation of jurisdiction among disciplinary authorities. Basically, this means drawing distinct, unambiguous lines of responsibility. No more confusion about who handles what between the school's division offices, the regional offices, and the central office. Second, they are finally bringing cases into the digital age with mechanisms for electronic filing. I mean, that's a massive and frankly overdue leap for a 2006 rulebook, right? Third, they're adding special prosecutors during formal investigations, which ensures a much more rigorous, specialized legal handling of these cases. And finally, they are perfectly syncing DepEd's internal rules with the newly updated 2025 revised rules on administrative cases in the civil service.
Now, let's talk about the logistics, because this is where the memo gets incredibly urgent. 7. The central office is giving the field offices exactly 7 calendar days to respond. And just to be completely clear, that's not business days, that's calendar days. Think about that for a second. It took 19 years to get to this draft, and they are getting exactly 1 week to review it. When a massive government agency operates on a turnaround time like that for a foundational policy review, it really underscores just how serious they are about getting this amendment completely finished before the year's out. The clock is literally ticking.
So, to actually pull off this incredibly tight review window without things descending into total chaos, the memo lays out a very strict action plan. Step 1. Regional offices have to gather inputs from the ground up, starting with their respective schools division offices. Step 2. The regional offices then consolidate all that localized feedback. They can't just forward hundreds of unread emails. They actually have to synthesize the data into a single unified response.
Step 3. That final consolidated submission is due by the hard deadline of October 27, 2025. This step-by-step structure is so crucial because it ensures the central office doesn't just get overwhelmed with fragmented feedback, but instead gets a really clean, organized regional perspective. And where does all this critical, consolidated feedback actually need to go? Well, to avoid any routing errors whatsoever, all submissions have to be sent directly to ls.investive@deped.gov.ph. This direct digital pipeline ensures the data lands right on the desks of the exact people drafting the final revisions of DO49. It might seem like a small detail, but, in a massive bureaucracy, having a centralized explicit submission portal is literally the difference between making a 7-day deadline and missing it entirely.
Which brings us to one final, pretty massive question to leave you with today. Will these modernizations actually streamline DepEd's administrative cases? On paper, this is a formidable upgrade. Absolutely no doubt about it. But as field officers scramble to submit their consolidated feedback this week, the real test is absolutely going to be in the implementation. Can a 19-year-old administrative justice system truly be digitized and streamlined overnight? It is a deeply fascinating development to watch, and one that is undoubtedly going to reshape the department's internal legal landscape for years to come. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack all of this on The Explainer today. Keep learning, keep analyzing, and I'll catch you in the next one.